Mark Hamill reveals the intensity of spoiling security tactics.
This was so cool.
In episode 9.
This is like Cold War era espionage type conversation.
Well, it seems like we talked about Force Awakens, like it was super tight. And then The Last Jedi was even more I don't even think that the way it sounds, it was like so close that they were going to not tell him his lines until he was on set. I mean, it was almost like that tight-lipped for episode 9. But yeah, we all know that J.J. Abrams is helming this, and he has taken script security to the next level. Mark Hamill gave EW, Entertainment Weekly, a sense of some of these spoiler security tactics employing on the next film of this franchise. And yes, we do know for sure Luke is back. We assume as a Force ghost or as a flashback. We know that they attempted a Luke Skywalker flashback in The Force Awakens. We also learned, well, we'll get to it here in a little bit, but apparently Mark hasn't even done a whole lot of his shooting yet. We have a quote here, though. He says, "I still have to go over and do episode 9, Mark Hamill said. Most of the parts I have coming up besides Star Wars are voiceover. There's one big one, very high profile, I can't announce now, that I'm really excited about. You know how it is these days. Every time you sign NDAs. I remember back when I read the first Star Wars script, I was like, wow, that's the goofiest thing I've ever read. I gave it to my best friend to read, and I said, what do you think of it? He said, I think it's really wild. It's crazy. Can I give it to Meredith? Sure, go ahead. So I went around to all my friends. Of course, back then, nobody cared. Nowadays, it's like working for some secret deep state government organization, like being in the CIA. They're going to send rewrites over to Prague on the dark red paper that gives you a headache to read." So that's like a mile-long quote from Mark Hamill. You can see how I try to cram that on the screen there. But when you think about the intensity that not just JJ, but Lucasfilm is going through to keep the secrets of Episode 9 secret. What do you make of this? This red paper? That has to be frustrating. You're trying to memorize lines and it's giving you a headache.
Well, it definitely wouldn't photocopy well if it's dark red paper with black text.
Right.
I mean, that's just brilliant.
When you hear his excitement, though, there's a couple of things that you can pick out. He has to still shoot most of Episode 9. So I take that as he shot some, enough for a possible teaser. I would hope that you would get Force Ghost Luke in the teaser. Stop hiding Luke. Stop. The fans, if there's anything that they've been consistently saying since Episode 7 and 8, we want more Luke. So hopefully they don't hide Luke. But that also makes me believe that we're going to see a teaser sooner than later. I don't think we're waiting to Celebration. I think we'll get it. If it's not in the next, however many days we have left in December, we'll have it by Super Bowl. But he has to go back over there. A lot of voiceover work, he said, though, which is interesting. So what's going on? Do you think it's a situation where I think of like in A New Hope, where we're in the trench to blow up the Death Star, and you have Obi-Wan Kenobi, his Force Ghost, the voiceover talking to Luke. I wonder if it's going to be a lot of like that, or if we're really going to get this nightmare ghost that he talked about several months ago. He wants to haunt Kylo.
I don't know, because if he's doing a haunting as a Force ghost, they still need him physically present with full body shots.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we're going to get more of the whispering in the ear kind of thing you were talking about, or maybe we get like a holocron where they CGI a younger Luke Skywalker and Mark's providing the voice for that, teaching out of a holocron of some sort. There are a lot of things they could do.
I would love to see some kind of flashback or somehow depicting a younger Luke fighting. I mean, that would give the Ignite the Green crowd something to cheer about.
Do you think they would hire a younger actor for the body and then CGI the face, kind of like they did with Leia in Rogue One and Tarkin in Rogue One?
I think there's a chance. I can't remember the guy's name, but they did cast somebody to play a young Luke Skywalker in The Force Awakens. StarWarsNewsNet.com had a story about this a few weeks ago, and maybe we'll talk about it next week. It's just a really deep dive. Deep dive. There we go. Tripping over myself. Where this guy was going to be playing Luke in the Bespin scene in the Cloud City, the duel with Vader, but that got scratched because the Force vision when Rey touches the saber was originally supposed to show how the saber ended up there.
Okay.
But then something didn't
Which
work
we
out
still
right.
don't know.
Right, which would have probably made a lot of sense to do it that way. They ended up taking out a few scenes, and then it just became these random shots, and that's what ultimately we got for the Force vision in Force Awakens. But I think there is a 20% chance. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of Luke. I could be wrong, but if it just depends on how much shooting that they've actually been able to complete, how much production they've gotten underway here in 2018, and how much left they have in the schedule in 2019. Because if he needs to be with the principal cast if he's going to be around a lot. We only know right now of scenes being shot with Poe, Rey, and Finn on a grassy, hilly planet. I think there's like a snow planet as well or something. So how much has been done in 2018? Because if there's still a bulk to do in 2019, then he might be around. But the impression I'm getting from this is they're not having involved right now. He might not have as big of a role as I was hoping for. I was kind of hoping like this would be like Force Ghost, maybe 50% of the film or 40% of the film. We were going to get a lot of Luke. That's what I was hoping for.
I doubt it. I mean, it'd be nice, but there's so many things I have to wrap up with the new cast. Rey, Poe, Finn.
See, I don't think you have to wrap up much with them because I think they're going to continue on. You're wrapping up the OT characters because you've already killed off 2 of the 3. Leia is going to get wrapped up. Luke is semi-wrapped up based on what you think happened with The Last Jedi. So I think we're going to have Rey, Poe, and Finn. These new characters, there's going to be a little, they won't be completely wrapped by the end of this movie because they're going to have other stories to tell.
Well, of
Whether
course,
it's not in TV, it's going to be in the comics, and it's in the books.
I mean, they're still young, so they have another 40 years that they could pump out Star Wars movies.
Unless JJ does like a reverse Genesis effect, and the screen just goes wide at the end of Episode 9, and the galaxy destroys. It's just gone. It's just over. It's just over with Rey, Poe, and Finn. We killed off Luke, and now it's just over with. That's how some Star Wars fans feel. I don't. Stop complaining. All right, so what do you think? We want to know what you think about all these words that Mark Hamill just thrust at us in this moment. Are you excited about the secrecy of the script? Are you excited to know that he has a lot of shooting still ahead? Does that change how much you think he will or will not be involved with this movie? Do you think that he's going to bring down a Star Destroyer? Kind of going back to what we talked about last week. We got reamed online. They're like, that's from Force Awakens, man. That's from a while ago. And I'm like, bro, I'm just reporting what people are reporting. That's what we do here. We just get news. We talk about it. We either like it or we don't like it. Some things we really don't like. What do you like? What do you not like? Let us know down in the comments below.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.